I think people are probably still laughing at me, but I've developed some thicker skin. I have a very full kind of vision of what this business can become. But ultimately, given the experience that I had pretty high conviction that this would work. Anytime you start a new business, there's a tremendous amount of risk. There's a lot of unknown. Things that are worth doing are inherently difficult or hard.
What's keeping you busy out there in Tennessee, out in Nashville?
Just work and I'm pretty involved in the community here, about the neighborhood as well as the city. I'm actually on a city commission. It's called the BPAC, which is the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission. So
Cool. Are you a
spend a lot
biker?
of time. Yeah, I mean, I do mostly like stationary biking. I don't do a whole lot of mountain biking, although I'm eager to get back into it. But yeah, I'm like a very not anti-car, but like I'm very supportive, especially where we live, where there's a lot of young kids and strollers, and I'm myself and other. There's tons of bars and stuff. The number of like traffic accidents is
Oh
just
yeah.
ridiculous when
Yeah, and
cars
give
are.
way to the bikes. We appreciate that. We've rode a lot of bikes in the area. We
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
country roads out here, but when we lived in the city in Tulsa and area, we loved the roads out there until they got into the single lane roads and there really wasn't anywhere to go between you and the cars. There were no bike lanes.
Yeah, it's so dangerous. Yeah,
And it can be
yeah,
extremely dangerous and people get hit all the time doing that. So that's a good initiative, especially for getting out on the roads and getting some exercise. And, we're bikers of a different kind.
yeah,
When they say it that way.
absolutely.
Yeah, we're not the wild hogs. What else keeps you busy out there in the world of life and family, obviously?
Yeah, well, married with our dog. They call us digwads, dual income, no kids with a dog. That was a term I
That's
learned.
a new one. I've heard the dinks, but I
The
haven't
dinks,
actually heard
the
the
dinkwads. Yeah, yeah. You gotta add the
wow.
wad as the suffix. But yeah, so we are. Yeah, we're kind of these obsessive dog parents here. We live pretty close to one of the big parks here called Shelby Park, which is actually bigger from a square footage perspective, bigger than Central Park.
Kidding.
And for about a mile and a half as the crow flies. So yeah, we're there all the time, with their dog.
We were there last
So
year with my daughter and stood on it. It was pretty cool.
yeah, so that's kind of over by Vanderbilt. So yeah,
That's right.
probably 3 to 4 miles from where I am. So,
Okay. Yeah.
15-minute drive. So yeah, not too
Beautiful area
far,
out there.
maybe a 30-minute ride, bicycle ride, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we love, I mean, it is as kind of urban as and dense as Nashville has become over the last decade. There's still a lot of green space. Obviously, we have the Smoky Mountains, which are about 2 hours east of here, kind of closer to Knoxville. Nashville's kind of right in the middle of the state. We're kind of in a nice little pocket over here.
Yeah. So are you a big dog fan? Little dog fan?
I'm a big dog fan, and our dog is a mid-sized dog. His name is Henry. He's a Wheaton Terrier. He's about 10 pounds too heavy, but, we don't body shame here. He's
Dog
about
shit.
58 pounds. He should be closer to 50, but he's having a good life.
That's all.
Yeah,
Well, I
no,
was
we
going to give
love.
you a product. We have a product called Pet Rida that's coming out, which is a pet stroller for dogs and cats, predominantly for
Oh, cool.
dogs, smaller dogs. I don't think a
Smaller
50.
dogs. Yeah.
Yeah, 58 pounds is probably not going to
A little
fly.
too big.
Shout
Yeah, he
out to
needs
Pet
the
Rida.
XL
Yeah.
version. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
it's
actually
a little
have.
more like 8 to 15, 20-pound dogs. So what keeps you busy work-wise? Like, what are you doing there to keep your life going? What are you into?
As the CEO of and founder of Third Person, that keeps me pretty busy. Although as I often joke, I wouldn't be a millennial if I wasn't dabbling in a few other things on the side. But
Yeah.
I'd say about 95% of my professional energy goes towards building Third Person, which in a couple months from now, we'll be coming up on our 2-year launch anniversary. Happy to kind of dig more into, that business. But in
Yeah.
addition to that, I've done a handful of angel investing opportunities over the last, 7 or 8 years. I think I've invested in about 12 businesses, mostly in supply chain technology, a little bit of e-commerce, but I like investing in businesses where I can actually help the founders and not just
Mhm.
cut a check because my check sizes are not that big. So I like to kind of juice up my impact by being an advisor and, helping the founders or the executive team with intros and sort of navigate. So do a little bit of angel investing, a little bit of advising. Sometimes they go hand in hand, but I'm on the board of a couple businesses in the logistics space for similar reasons. So yeah, I like just kind of dabbling in a few other things. It sort of keeps things fresh, gives me different perspective of what others are doing and what works for them. And often there's principles and ideology that I can kind of bring back to my business to help improve what we're doing or help me kind of think about things differently. Because as you know, Neil, when you're kind of working for the company that you're working for, it's sometimes hard to kind of step to the side or step outside of the box that you're in to understand what other people are doing or what good might look like. So it's
Yeah.
always been helpful for me to have a fresh perspective and talking to other leaders and folks going through similar trials and tribulations that I am running this business.
Yeah. Well, tell me more about the business itself. What does it serve? Who does it serve?
Sure. Yeah. So as I said, the business is called Third Person. It's a bit of a play on words, a bit of a double entendre. My previous business, a consulting business, was called Second Marathon.
Okay.
So I like the transition from second to third, but also given that we're in logistics and supporting fulfillment companies known as 3PLs, third party logistics, the name was a play on that. Third person, third party. The website's thirdperson.co. As I joke, we weren't wealthy enough to purchase the .com. We didn't have enough cash in the bank, so we had to settle for the .co.
Okay.
Really the business is a marketplace that helps connect e-commerce brands or really retail brands generally, but typically these are brands rooted in e-commerce, help them discover and connect with 3PLs. So I think the simplest way of thinking about the model is it's sort of like a dating app, right? Like a Bumble or a Tinder or Match.com, whatever the hot new dating app is out there. It's really a tool to help brands discover and connect with qualified 3PLs. So at the core of our product is some AI powered technology that we've built that essentially will score the brand's profile and their needs. So
Okay.
Neil's hot sauce company or Neil's candle company, we absorb some information. We score that against each of the several hundred 3PLs who are on the platform. And we present the top 10 matches ranked by score, kind of this proprietary match score that we've created. And then we allow Neil, the brand, the user, and only Neil, sort of one-sided, we allow you to determine who you want to connect with. So you can see that Matt's Warehouse in Nashville, Tennessee is a 94% match score. You say to yourself, yep, that's great. 94 is a good score. You can connect with me directly by sending a message directly through the platform. And then obviously at that point, Matt's Warehouse knows that Neil exists because you chose to connect with me. And then we kind of start a dialogue and, kind of go through your sales process. So it's really a tool to help distill this universe of literally over 10,000 3PLs or fulfillment warehouses in the United States alone, help distill to just a small handful that we believe are qualified to support your specific needs.
I like that. So it's almost like an Uber of 3PLs. It's a
Yeah, yep, exactly. Yeah, kind of a marketplace. And, I think probably the core difference is that, with Uber, besides maybe a rating, there's really no logic to say that Matt really likes Honda Civics and I really want a driver who's under 30 and I only want a male driver, so there's not a whole lot of intelligence in the matching, right? It uses kind of location as the key variable, I believe, I
yeah.
suspect. But with our product, it's a lot more curated, right? So it's probably closer
I like that.
to a dating app where,
Mm,
back when I was a single guy and on some dating apps, there's certain variables that I use to try to draw, women,
yeah.
dates my way. So, age and location and, other variables that were important to me at the time.
Probably like match a little bit, maybe a
Exactly.
little like Tinder
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
terms of,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
A little bit more robust in the variables, I suppose.
Well, no, it's cool, and it's a great idea. Where did it come from? Like, how did you start as an e-com seller who had a problem with finding the right connection, or was it a problem solving that came out of your business? Was it something you just identified, or did an apple fall on your head?
It was a little bit of all that, to be honest. So earlier in my career, I actually started on the brand side. So back when I was living in New York City out of college, after a couple of years in finance, I joined an early stage startup a couple of weeks in, a company called Rent the Runway, which is now a publicly traded company, a women's dress rental business. Joined them at, early on as the head of ops there. Joined another company after that called Birchbox in the subscription commerce space
Yep.
as their head of operations for a number of years. So I was able to kind of understand or gain an appreciation for some of the challenges that brands face in kind of building and scaling their supply chain. So I knew, from, 15 years ago, 18 years ago almost, that some of these decisions are really important decisions and really hard decisions to make. And unfortunately, fortunate for me, but unfortunately for brands, over the last couple of decades, that decision has not become easier to make. It's actually probably become harder because there's just a lot more noise out there.
Yeah.
So when I started my consulting business back in 2017 as kind of like a fractional supply chain consultant, we were helping brands with all sorts of things, negotiating shipping rates, outsourcing fulfillment, procurement, packaging, kind of all that good stuff. And then when COVID came around, we decided to really focus on the one service the brands are most commonly seeking our support with, which was helping them find the right fulfillment provider. So we kind of sunset a lot of the other work we were doing to really kind of become the best at leading 3PL or warehouse searches or RFPs, as it's known. So that was kind of all we did for a few years. And,
Okay.
my business partner and I, we kind of looked at each other and we are like, hey, we can probably build technology around this, build software around this. And in
Right.
fact, software is probably better at making these connections than humans and spreadsheets are. So long story short, that was kind of like the origin or the genesis of transitioning or productizing the key service that we were offering in our consultancy into building kind of a standalone software business, which we launched, as I mentioned, back in March of 2024.
Yeah, that's a great path. So you have a evolution in history. You found a niche, in an area you already understood that you were working in. You asked the question, what if? And then you actually went and did something about it, which is awesome because a lot of people have those questions and then don't really do anything. They just think somebody will laugh at me. It's not a great idea. What if it fails? They just stop. Right. And you kept going. What was the instigator? Like, is it just a vision? Is it just that,
Yeah. I think people are probably still laughing at me, but I've developed some thicker skin over the years. We certainly still have a long road ahead, and I have a very, very full kind of vision of what this business can become. So I truly feel like we're at the earliest point in sort of playing out, the vision and the goals of this business. But ultimately, given the experience that I had, which I, just mentioned, I had pretty high conviction that this would work, right? Yes, it was a bet. Anytime you start a new business, there's a tremendous amount of risk. There's a lot of unknown. If this was so obvious, someone else probably would have done it already, right? So things that are worth doing are inherently difficult or hard. And you get people being like, why the heck would you do that? I mean, heck, there have been moments in the last couple of years since launching third person where I've looked at my own personal, income and sort of P&L. I'm like, man, why did we stop that consulting business? We were making some good money and not working very hard, right?
Right.
And we didn't have a payroll, right? It was just the two of us, right? And, we looked at our piggy bank at the end of every month and we split it two ways. Every month we had a credit card bill of about $100, right? Google and Zoom and Calendly and a couple other software. Today, I've got a team of 6 of us and, we raised a little bit of outside capital and, we're building software, which is
Yeah.
very different than running a consulting business. Right?
Yeah.
There's technology, things break, bugs arise, right? It's a very different business, but core to my confidence as we scaled this business, this product is that I know that we are truly creating value in the market, right? Like I understand the problem very well that we're solving. So to use that old cliche, I'm very confident that I'm not creating a solution to a problem that does not
It
exist.
doesn't exist. Yeah, that's important.
Right.
I think that's where you bridge the understanding between what you created and the need in the market and what others theorize as a need without the market research or the experience to tell them that's probably not a good idea.
Exactly. So, there's sort of that concept of like founder product fit, right? Not product market fit. That's different as we know, but founder product fit. And I don't mean this to sound overly arrogant, but I know it's the truth is that when it comes to founder product fit for what we're building at third person, I certainly have a lot of check marks there. What we're working on now is this product market fit, right? Like, are we building something that is scalable and, is it just a fun little side gig for Matt? Is this worth pursuing in 2 years from now? Are we at that point where it's really scaling and, revenue is, pouring in or, it's a real business, millions and millions of dollars in revenue or, whatever my true goals are for the business? Or is it just like a nice little thing that kind of runs itself, produces some cash flow, but, isn't that sustainable business? So clearly I think it's the former. I think it's something that will become a meaningful, profitable business, but we're still early on. So, every day we're kind of working to make the product better and create a really good experience for all stakeholders.
Yeah, that's great, man. And I appreciate you sharing that. So guys, I would encourage you to go check that out. You want to give a shout out to your website real quick?
Sure. It is third person. So THIRD, third person, .co.
Yeah, guys, check it out. Thirdperson.co would be in the show in the notes. And of course, if you're listening to this on Spotify or anywhere else, give it a check out at the YouTube channel or anywhere else you want to connect with Matt and understand a little bit more about the connectivity of e-commerce to 3PL and what it means for your business in a connected world. There's a multi-channel opportunity to move your business in multiple locations and anywhere from retail to other locations. And if you don't want to build a warehouse, hire people and you're probably going to want to use a third-party logistics service. It's always got a math and the math, so make sure you do your numbers correctly as always. But if it's a good opportunity to understand how to expand quickly through a distributed model, then check out what Matt's doing. It may be a good fit for your guys' business. Matt, there's anything we didn't cover? Anything we didn't say? Anything that you want to bring up that we didn't cover?
I always enjoy kind of sharing the story and helping other stakeholders who are looking for e-commerce and fulfillment support. So I'm never trying to sell anyone anything. I also should have mentioned, Neil, that the product is absolutely free for brands to use. So if you are a brand in need of fulfillment support, it costs zero, no strings attached. Our model is generally we get paid a referral fee and affiliate fee from 3PL. So we're kind of viewed as an extension of a warehouse's sales team. Also happy to connect with anyone directly. I realize third person is technology and software, but I'm a human. For those who can see me here, although I guess AI can also make me look, make someone not human look human, but
it's getting a little crazy today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe that I am, but always happy to be,
Awesome.
support for anyone.
Yeah. So guys, just to be clear, you don't pay for the service Matt has, but you pay for the 3PL at whatever location or situation makes sense. Those are the numbers you will want to run as to what inventory and locations you want to be shipping in and out of. So that's a very smart model. Matt, referrals and becoming an outsourced sales team, I'm sure the 3PLs love you and give you a
They do.
deal.
We're giving them what they want, which is qualified leads.
That's amazing. Well, it's a great setup. It's a great experience for you, I'm sure, and for the people that get involved in what you're building. That's why I consider it a high voltage business builder. And guys, if you check out what he's doing, of course, see what the numbers look like and make sure that it's a great fit for your business. As always, guys, like, share, comment, and engage. If you've got any questions about this episode or any questions about even what a 3PL is or anything related, please just ask us. Always like and subscribe and comment so we can send more good information to people. And if someone needs some support in that area, please share this episode with them as well. As always, we'll be back with another episode. Matt, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, Neil.
Take care, guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next episode. And remember, your opportunity always begins at the end of your excuses.